The night fell slow and soft like a memory that refused to fade. The sky above the quiet town stretched wide and endless, filled with the scent of rain that had not yet come. The streets were empty and silent, as though the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for something beautiful and terrible to happen. The lamps flickered with a tired glow and the wind carried the sound of distant thunder, a promise of what was to come. Beneath the old willow tree by the river she stood, her hair clinging to her face, her eyes lost somewhere between longing and sorrow. The first drops of rain touched her skin like whispers of forgotten dreams. She did not move, she did not speak, she simply stood there as if the rain could wash away everything she had been hiding. The world around her blurred as the storm began to breathe life into the silence. She remembered the last time she stood in this place, the day the river had sung his name, the boy with the soft voice and the eyes like storm clouds. He had promised to return before the first rain of the next season, and she had waited through every sunset, through every sigh of the wind, through every lonely night when the stars seemed too far to reach. She waited because hope was the only thing she knew how to hold. The rain fell heavier now, it painted the world in silver and shadow, and every drop that touched her skin felt like the echo of his voice. She could almost hear him calling her name, soft and broken beneath the sound of the storm. The willow swayed like it remembered him too, and the river whispered secrets that only the lost could understand. Her dress clung to her like a memory that would not let go, and she closed her eyes, feeling the weight of time pressing against her heart. She thought of all the letters she never sent, the words she never spoke, the dreams she buried beneath the rain. She thought of him, the way he smiled, the way he touched her hair like he was afraid she might disappear, and for a moment she believed that he had never really left, that he was just hidden somewhere between the thunder and the wind. The night deepened, the rain grew colder, but she did not move. She watched the ripples in the river shimmer under the dim light of the moon. She felt the ground tremble as lightning split the sky, and in that flash of light she saw him, not as he was but as she remembered him, standing on the other side of the river, smiling through the storm. His lips moved as if speaking a truth the rain could not carry, and her heart ached with the weight of it. She wanted to cross, she wanted to run into the storm and hold him and never let go, but her feet were heavy like roots clinging to the earth. The rain roared around her, washing away everything except the sound of his name, and she whispered it back again and again like a prayer lost in the wind. Somewhere in the distance a bell rang, its sound hollow and fading. It echoed through the rain like a heartbeat slowing to silence. The willow bent low as if bowing to some unseen sorrow, and the girl lifted her hands to the sky, letting the rain trace the shape of her tears. She wondered if he could see her now, if he could feel the rain where he was, if he still remembered the promise made beneath this same storm. The river rose higher, its voice louder than before. It called to her like it knew her pain, like it carried the ghost of every word they ever shared, and she felt something shift inside her, a quiet surrender to the rhythm of the rain, to the truth that some love stories are written not in words but in the spaces between them. And as the wind howled and the storm raged, the world blurred into one endless breath of rain and memory and longing. Rain did not stop, it fell like an endless song weaving through the darkness and the quiet. It wrapped around her like a shroud of silver. Light, soft and wild at once, the river swelled and whispered her name in tones that only her heart could hear. She stood still as though time itself had forgotten to move. Her breath was shallow, her eyes heavy with the weight of dreams that refused to fade. She thought of the days before the rain, when the air was warm and filled with laughter, when his hand had brushed against hers under the old willow tree. The world then was smaller, simpler, filled with the glow of promise and the sweet ache of beginnings. She remembered how he had told her that the rain was not a curse but a song that washed the world clean, and she had laughed, not knowing that someday she would wait for the rain just to feel close to him again. The wind carried the scent of wet earth and forgotten summers. The sky cracked open and thunder rolled like a heartbeat of the heavens, and she closed her eyes, letting the sound pull her deeper into memory. She saw him again, standing by the river, his reflection trembling on the surface of the water, his smile soft and real like sunlight through mist. He said nothing, but she could hear his voice in the rhythm of the rain. It was the same voice that had once promised forever, and forever had never come. The world around her blurred between now and then, between what was and what could have been. She took a step forward, her feet sinking into the soaked ground. The river's edge trembled as if alive. She felt it reaching for her, calling her home. She wanted to let go, to fall into its arms and let the water carry her to wherever he might be waiting. She whispered his name again, the sound breaking like glass against the wind, and the rain carried it away into the night. The willow tree wept above her, its long branches dripping with rain, each drop falling like a memory she could no longer hold. The air shimmered with something unseen, something ancient and soft, the kind of magic that only comes when the heart breaks open wide enough for the sky to see. She felt the world spinning slow and endless, the rain tracing the curve of her face like gentle fingers. She imagined his touch in every drop, his breath in every gust of wind. Then through the veil of rain she saw a light faint and trembling across the river. It flickered like a dying star, yet it burned with a warmth that drew her closer. It was not the glow of lanterns nor the reflection of lightning, but something older, something that felt like memory turned to flame. She reached out her hand and the rain seemed to bend around her fingers. The river stirred and the whispers grew louder now, not just one voice but many, the echoes of love and loss and every story ever swallowed by the storm. Her heart raced, her eyes wide as she stepped closer to the water. The wind wrapped around her like a song without words. She could almost hear him calling her, come back, come home. The rain fell harder, blurring the lines between the sky and the river until she could no longer tell where one ended and the other began. Her reflection shimmered in the water, her face strange and distant like someone she used to know. She wondered if the rain could remember her the way she remembered him, if the earth kept their story buried deep beneath the roots of the willow tree. She knelt by the edge, her fingers brushing the surface of the river. It was cold but alive, it pulsed beneath her skin like the beating of another heart. She closed her eyes and felt the world dissolve into sound and light and water. And in that moment she was no longer afraid. She was part of the rain, part of the whisper, part of the endless story that began long before her and would go on long after she was gone. The storm raged around her, but she felt only peace, as though the rain itself was speaking to her in a language only the lost could understand. The storm softened at last. The rain became a murmur, gentle and deep, as though the sky had grown tired of its own sorrow and now wept in silence. The world shimmered with silver light, the air heavy with the scent of wet earth and quiet forgiveness. She stood at the river's edge, her hands trembling, her heart beating like the memory of a forgotten song. The willow tree bent low, its branches brushing her shoulders as if to comfort her, and she felt for the first time that the rain was not only falling from the sky but rising from within her. The whispers surrounded her now, softer than before, filled with warmth like the echo of a voice she once knew, and she listened, her eyes half closed, the sound like a dream she could almost hold. She heard him again, not as a ghost but as something more real than life, his voice in the rain saying, I never left you, I am in every drop, in every breath, in every heartbeat that still remembers me. She felt the truth of it ripple through her like light through water. The river gleamed beneath the dim light of dawn, its surface calm and endless. She took a step forward and the ground no longer felt cold, it felt alive, breathing with her. The world had changed in some quiet unseen way. The storm had washed away the edges between life and longing, between her heart and the sky above. She knew then that love was not something that vanished, it was something that moved through time and silence, something that became the rain itself. She looked across the river where once she had seen his shape, but now there was only the soft shimmer of morning mist. She smiled though her eyes were wet, the rain clung to her skin like a promise kept at last. She whispered his name one final time and the sound did not break, it became part of the wind, part of the water, part of everything she could not touch but could always feel. As the first light of dawn spread across the sky, the willow tree glowed faintly golden, each drop of rain upon its leaves catching the sun like tears turned to glass. She reached out and let one fall into her palm. It was warm and it pulsed gently like a heartbeat. She closed her fingers around it and felt peace bloom within her like a quiet flame. She understood now that some love stories are not meant to end, they simply change shape. They become the rain that falls on empty roads, the wind that hums through the trees, the quiet that lingers after the storm. She turned away from the river and walked toward the awakening town, her steps slow, her heart steady behind her. The river whispered its endless song beneath the willow tree, the air still carried his voice and the world seemed to hum with a soft and infinite glow. She felt the rain upon her face one last time before the clouds parted, and in that moment she knew she was never alone, for every raindrop carried a memory and every whisper beneath the rain was his. And as she disappeared into the golden light of morning, the world exhaled and the rain began to fade, leaving only the hush of the river and the sound of her name woven forever into the wind.